The package arrived wrapped in black silk, tied with a crimson ribbon that matched the snow-dusted streets of Seoul outside his penthouse window. Choi Tae-yoon didn't accept gifts. Especially not on Christmas Eve. Especially not from women who didn't know better than to send unsolicited offerings to a man whose reputation alone made grown men weep. But when he opened it and found the handwritten note, something ancient and violent stirred in his chest. I heard powerful men enjoy receiving gifts they never ask for. Consider this my resignation, effective immediately. Merry Christmas, Mr. Choi. Respectfully, Nia. His hands crushed the paper. She was leaving. Welcome to Afro-Korean Stories, besties. Please like, share, and subscribe. My dream is to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of this year. I believe together we can achieve. Thank you. Nia had worked in his organization for exactly 11 months and 14 days. Not that Tae-yoon was counting. He absolutely was. From the moment she'd walked into his underground headquarters with her resume and her wildly inappropriate optimism, wearing a dress that celebrated every curve God gave her, speaking Korean with a melodic Nigerian accent that made his teeth ache, he'd been obsessed. She was his financial analyst. His numbers expert. The woman who sat 3 floors below him crunching data while he ran one of Seoul's most feared operations from the shadows. She had no idea who he really was. To her, he was just the cold CEO of a tech conglomerate. To everyone else, he was the ghost who controlled half the city's underground economy. And now she was leaving. The note said nothing about why, but he knew. Last week's Christmas party. The investor who'd cornered her near the champagne fountain, touching her arm, leaning too close. Tae-yoon had watched from across the room, his vision going red, his control fracturing. He'd sent men to escort the investor out. Permanently. But Nia had seen something in his eyes that night. Recognition. Fear. Understanding that her boss was more than he appeared. He pressed the intercom. His second-in-command answered immediately. Find her. Now. Sir, it's Christmas Eve. She's probably. I don't care if it's the second coming. Find Nia. Bring her to me. Unharmed. Anyone who touches her loses their hands. The line went dead. Tae-yoon stood at his window, watching snow fall over Seoul like ash, and tried to remember the last time he'd felt anything resembling panic. Nothing came. Because nothing had ever mattered this much. 2 hours later, his phone rang. We found her, sir. She's at Incheon Airport. Flight to Lagos boards in 40 minutes. Tae-yoon was in his car before the call ended. His driver knew better than to ask questions, just pressed the accelerator until Seoul became a blur of lights and speed. They made the airport in 23 minutes. He walked through security like he owned it, which financially speaking, he did. His people had eyes everywhere. Finding one curvy woman with natural hair and eyes that haunted his sleep was child's play. He found her at gate 17, sitting with her carry-on, wearing jeans, and an oversized sweater that somehow made her look more devastating than any cocktail dress. She was crying. Silently. The kind of crying people do when they're trying very hard not to be seen. Something in his chest cracked open. He approached slowly, each step measured, trying to look less like a predator and more like a man. He failed. She looked up. Saw him. Her eyes went wide. Mr. Choi. Nia. He sat down beside her without asking permission. You're leaving. I resigned. Properly. 2 weeks' notice is in your email. I don't accept it. She laughed, broken and beautiful. You don't get to decide that. I get to decide everything. His voice was soft. Dangerous. That's the problem, isn't it? You finally figured out what I am. Who I am. And now you're running. Her hands twisted in her lap. I'm going home for Christmas. That's all. Liar. He leaned closer, close enough to smell her perfume, something warm and sweet that made him want to destroy cities. You're running because you're scared. Of me. Of what you saw at that party. You had that man removed. Her voice shook. One minute he was there, the next he was gone. And the way you looked at me after, like you owned me or something. I do own you. The words came out before he could stop them. Raw. True. Unforgivable. I have since the day you walked into my office and smiled at me like I was human. She stood abruptly. He stood with her, blocking her exit without touching her, his body a wall between her and escape. Other passengers stared. He didn't care. Let them look. Let them see a man unraveling. This is insane, she whispered. You're my boss. You're, whatever you are. And I'm nobody. Say that again. His voice dropped to something lethal. Tell me you're nobody. See what happens. Her breath hitched. Taeyoon. First time she'd ever used his name. It sounded like prayer and curse and salvation. He stepped closer, crowding her space, giving her nowhere to go but into him. That investor touched you. Put his hands on what's mine. I removed the problem. I will always remove the problem. That's what men like me do. Men like you. She looked up at him, tears tracking down her cheeks. I don't even know what that means. It means I'm dangerous. It means people are terrified of me for good reason. It means I've done things that would make you sick. He reached up, wiped her tears with his thumb, the gesture achingly gentle compared to his words. It also means that for 11 months I've watched you, wanted you, tried to stay away because you're too good, too bright, too everything I don't deserve. And I've failed. I can't let you leave, Nia. I won't. You can't kidnap me from an airport. Watch me. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Cancel her flight. All flights to Lagos tonight. I don't care how. Do it. She stared at him, horrified. Fascinated. You're actually crazy. For you? Absolutely. He pocketed his phone, took her carry-on in one hand, her wrist in the other. Gentle but immovable. We're leaving. You can walk or I can carry you. Choose quickly before I decide for you. The next moment was crucial. He saw her weighing options, calculating escape routes, probably mentally reviewing everything she knew about him. Which was nothing compared to the truth. But then her shoulders dropped. Surrender. Or maybe curiosity. If I go with you, you'll explain everything? Everything you can handle hearing. And if I can't handle it? His smile was blade sharp. Then I'll make you. They walked out of the airport together, his hand never leaving her wrist, her body tense beside his. His driver opened the door to the Bentley. Nia hesitated. He waited. Patient. Giving her the illusion of choice even though they both knew she was already his. She got in. He followed. The door closed, sealing them in leather and dim light and tension so thick it was hard to breathe. Take us to the house, he told the driver. Not the penthouse. The house. His private sanctuary outside Seoul that nobody knew about. Where he could explain who he was without surveillance, without witnesses, without anything between them but truth. Nia stared out the window as Seoul disappeared behind them, replaced by mountains and snow. I researched you after the party. After I saw, whatever I saw in your eyes. The articles call you the ghost. Say you control half of Seoul's underground economy. That people who cross you disappear. The articles are accurate. She turned to face him. And you're telling me this why? If you're so dangerous, so secretive, why confirm anything? Because you're leaving. Or trying to. And I've realized something tonight. He shifted closer, until his thigh pressed against hers, until she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. I'd rather you know the monster and stay than believe a lie and go. I'm tired of pretending around you. Pretending what? That I'm civilized. That I'm safe. That I don't think about you every hour of every day until it's like madness. His hand came up, fingers tangling gently in her natural curls, and she didn't pull away. That I didn't have that investor killed for touching you. Her breath caught. Killed. He's not dead. Just relocated. Permanently. With very clear instructions about what happens if he ever comes near you again. His smile was winter itself. I'm trying to be better for you. That's as good as it gets. They arrived at the house an hour later. Traditional Korean architecture hidden in the mountains, surrounded by gates and guards and enough security to protect a head of state. He led her inside, watching her take in the space. Minimalist. Beautiful. Empty except for what mattered. This is where you live? She turned in a slow circle, taking it all in. When I need to disappear. To think. To be something other than what soul requires. He moved to the kitchen, poured whiskey for himself, tea for her without asking what she wanted. He already knew. I bought it 3 years ago. You're the first person I've ever brought here. She accepted the tea, hands wrapped around the cup like it could protect her. Why me? Because you make me want things I thought I'd buried. Normal things. Coming home to someone. Having conversations that aren't about money or power or death. Hearing my name said with affection instead of fear. He took a long drink, let the burn settle his nerves. You make me want to be human again. I hate you for it. You don't hate me. No. I don't. That's the problem. The silence stretched between them, heavy with everything unsaid. Finally, she set down her tea. The gift. In your office. That wasn't my resignation. That was something else. His blood went cold. Then hot. What was it? Her cheeks flushed, dark skin glowing in the low light. It was stupid. Inappropriate. I thought, the party, the way you looked at me, I thought maybe you felt, but then I realized how insane that was, and I panicked, and now I'm rambling, and you're staring at me like I'm insane. Nia. He set down his glass. Moved toward her with predatory focus. What? Was. In. The. Box. She backed up until she hit the wall. He caged her there with his hands on either side of her head, giving her nowhere to go. It was lingerie. Red lace. And a note that said, Merry Christmas, if you want to unwrap your gift, you know where to find me. The world stopped. His brain short-circuited. Every carefully maintained wall of control crumbled into ash. You sent me lingerie? I was going to take it back. That's why I was leaving. I realized how inappropriate it was, how you probably thought I was, I don't know, some kind of, and I couldn't face you, so I ran, and now you're here, and I'm mortified, and please stop looking at me like that. Like what? Like you want to devour me. His smile was pure danger. That's exactly what I want to do. Her breath came faster. Taeyoon. Say it again. Say my name like that again. This is insane. You're my boss. You're a criminal. I should be terrified. Are you? He leaned in closer, lips brushing her ear. Terrified? No. That's what scares me most. He pulled back enough to meet her eyes. Dark. Desperate. Wanting. I'm going to kiss you now. If you don't want that, tell me to stop. She didn't tell him to stop. His mouth covered hers with 11 months of restraint finally breaking free. She tasted like tea and something sweet he couldn't name. Her hands came up to his chest, fisting in his shirt, and he groaned against her mouth, deepening the kiss until she was clinging to him like he was gravity itself. When he finally pulled away, they were both breathing hard. I've wanted to do that since the day you walked into my office, he said roughly. Every board meeting, every report you handed me, every time you smiled at me like I was worth smiling at. I wanted to throw you over my desk and make you mine. Then why didn't you? Because you deserved better than a monster. She pulled him back down, kissed him again, harder this time. What if I don't want better? What if I want you? Something inside him broke. Or healed. He wasn't sure which. He swept her up in his arms, carried her through the house to his bedroom, laid her out on his bed like she was holy. She looked up at him with trust he didn't deserve and desire that set him on fire. If we do this, he said, voice strained, there's no going back. You'll be mine. Completely. I won't let you leave. I won't let anyone hurt you. I won't let you go. Then don't. He kissed her until the world outside ceased to exist. Until all that mattered was her skin under his hands, her sighs against his mouth, the way she said his name like prayer. What happened next was too sacred, too private for words. Just two people finally giving in to something that had been inevitable from the start. Later, much later, she lay curled against his chest, his arms locked around her like chains made of flesh. This doesn't make sense, she whispered. You and me. It's too fast. Too intense. Nothing about us makes sense. I'm a criminal. You're an analyst. I'm Korean. You're Nigerian. I live in shadows. You're all light. None of it matters. Why not? Because you're mine. Have been since the moment you smiled at me. And I take care of what's mine. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, what happens now? Now? You stop trying to leave. You accept that I'm not letting you go. You let me protect you, worship you, give you everything you've ever wanted. He pressed his lips to her hair. And eventually, you marry me. Eventually? I'm giving you 3 months. Then I'm putting a ring on your finger whether you're ready or not. She should have argued. Should have said it was too much, too fast, too everything. Instead, she laughed. Soft. Surrender. You're actually insane. For you? Unquestionably. The next morning arrived with snow and coffee. Taeyoon woke before dawn, watching Nia sleep in his bed, wearing his shirt, looking like every fantasy he'd ever locked away. His phone buzzed. Work. Always work. He answered it in the other room, voice cold, efficient. But when he returned, she was awake, watching him with sleepy eyes. Business? She asked. Always. The illegal kind? The profitable kind. Does it matter? She considered this. Will you tell me about it? Really tell me? He sat on the edge of the bed, traced patterns on her arm. If you want to know, I'll tell you. All of it. The money laundering, the protection rackets, the investments that aren't quite legal. Everything. Why would you do that? Tell me everything? Won't that make me a liability? His smile was sharp. You think I care about liability when it comes to you? I'd burn the entire operation to the ground before I'd let anything happen to you. You want to know what I do? Fine. But once you know, you're in. Completely. No backing out. And if I can't handle it? Then I'll help you handle it. But you're not leaving me, Nia. Not now. Not ever. The following week was surreal. Christmas passed in a blur of snow and confessions. Taeyoon explained his organization with clinical precision. The legitimate businesses that fronted for illegal ones. The network of people who owed him favors. The enemies who wanted him dead. The wealth that came from controlling what others feared. Nia listened without judgment, asking questions that proved she understood numbers and leverage better than most of his lieutenants. You could legitimize everything, she said one evening, reviewing his books with the same focus she'd brought to board reports. Move the money through these channels, restructure these holdings. In 5 years, you could be completely clean. I don't want to be clean. I want to be feared. Why? Because fear keeps you alive. Love gets you killed. She looked up from the papers. Is that what happened to your family? Someone loved them and they died? His jaw locked. Don't. Taeyoon. My parents were soft. Trusting. They thought being good was enough. It wasn't. I was 17 when rivals came for us. I survived. They didn't. I learned that day that mercy is weakness. That the only way to protect what matters is to be more dangerous than everyone else. So that's what I became. She set down the papers, moved to him, wrapped her arms around him despite his tension. I'm sorry. For what happened to them. For what it made you become. Don't be sorry for what I am. I'm not. I know. But I can still hurt for the boy who lost everything. Something inside him softened. Just slightly. Just enough. You're dangerous too. In a completely different way. How so? You make me want things I swore I'd never want again. Family. Home. Someone to protect who isn't part of the organization. You make me weak. No. I make you human. There's a difference. By the end of the month, Nia had moved into the mountain house permanently. She kept her job officially, but worked remotely, which meant working from his bed most days while he conducted business 3 rooms away. His men noticed the change. The way their boss smiled now. How his orders came with less venom. How he'd murder anyone who so much as looked at Nia wrong. You've gone soft, boss, Day said during a meeting. Not an accusation. An observation. I've gone focused. There's a difference. Before, I had nothing to lose. Now I have everything. Which means I'm exponentially more dangerous to anyone who threatens what's mine. And what's yours? Everything. Starting with her. That evening, he came home to find Nia cooking. Actually cooking. In his kitchen. Making something that smelled like home and spices and everything he'd been missing. He stood in the doorway, watching her move, and felt something terrifying settle in his chest. Permanence. I didn't know you cooked, he said. She jumped, turned, smiled. Nigerian food. My mom's recipes. Thought you might want to try something different than whiskey and takeout. He moved behind her, arms wrapping around her waist, chin on her shoulder. You're trying to domesticate me. Is it working? Terrifyingly well. They ate together, him asking questions about every dish, her explaining with enthusiasm that made him smile. This was what normal people did. Shared meals. Talked about their days. Didn't discuss murder or money laundering. Just existed together. I could get used to this, he said. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. Famous last words. 2 days later, everything fell apart. Taeyun was in Seoul for a meeting with associates from Busan. Routine business. Except it wasn't routine. It was an ambush. A rival organization making a play for his territory. Guns came out. His security responded. By the time the smoke cleared, 5 men were dead, none of them his, and Taeyun had a price on his head that would make most people flee the country. He didn't flee. He called Nia. Pack a bag. We're moving. What? Why? Because someone just declared war. And I won't risk you being collateral damage. She was in his secure car within the hour, surrounded by armed guards, being driven to a location even she didn't know. Taeyun sat beside her, jaw tight, phone pressed to his ear, issuing orders in rapid Korean that made her blood run cold. This was the man the world feared. Cold. Calculating. Lethal. How bad is it? She asked when he finally hung up. Bad enough that I'm moving you to Japan until this is resolved. Japan? Absolutely not. I'm not leaving you. He turned to face her, eyes flat. This isn't negotiable. Neither is me abandoning you when someone wants you dead. Nia. His voice cracked slightly. They'll use you to get to me. They'll hurt you to hurt me. I can't, I won't let that happen. Then don't. Keep me close. Protect me. But don't send me away. The argument continued for 3 days while they holed up in a safe house in Gangnam. Taeyun's organization worked around the clock to identify the threat, eliminate it, send messages written in blood about what happened to people who came for the ghost. Meanwhile, Nia watched the man she loved transform into something darker. He barely slept. Barely ate. Just planned and strategized and prepared for war. You need to rest, she said on the 4th night, finding him in his office at 3 a.m. I need to keep you alive. I am alive. I'm right here. Safe. For now. But these people, they're not like the others. They're organized. Well-funded. Connected. If they get their hands on you, they'll do things that will make me beg them to kill me instead. She moved behind his chair, hands on his shoulders, kneading the tension there. Then make sure they don't get me. But don't push me away thinking it'll keep me safer. That's not how this works. He pulled her around, into his lap, buried his face against her neck. I don't know how to do this. Care about someone this much. It's like being flayed alive. Welcome to love. It's terrifying. I hate it. No, you don't. No. I don't. He lifted his head, eyes burning. I love you. Which is worse? Because love means vulnerability. And vulnerability gets people killed. Or it makes you fight harder. Love isn't weakness, Taeyoon. It's why you'll win. He kissed her then, desperate and claiming, like he could absorb her into his skin if he tried hard enough. What followed was hours of them together, reconnecting, reminding each other why they were fighting. By dawn, he was calmer. Focused. Ready. The resolution came 2 weeks later. Taeyoon's people found the organization's headquarters, their financial backers, their entire structure. What happened next was surgical. Efficient. Brutal. By the time it was over, the threat was eliminated, the message sent, and Seoul's underground knew with absolute certainty that the ghost's woman was untouchable. It's done, he told her, coming home covered in someone else's blood, exhaustion carved into every line of his face. Done meaning? Meaning the people who threatened you don't exist anymore. Meaning I can breathe again. She should have been horrified. Should have run from the violence, the casual way he discussed ending lives. Instead, she pulled him into the shower, washed the blood away, held him while he finally let himself break. Just slightly. Just enough. I thought I'd lose you, he whispered against her hair. You won't. Ever. I'm here. Promise me. I promise. The next morning brought peace. Fragile. Temporary. But peace nonetheless. Taeyoon woke with Nia in his arms, sunlight streaming through windows, and made a decision. He called Dae. I'm out. Sir? The organization. I'm stepping back. You're taking over. Silence. Then, because of her? Because of her. Because I want to wake up like this every morning without wondering if today's the day someone uses her to destroy me. Because she makes me want normal. And I'm choosing that. The others won't let you just walk away. Watch me. I'm keeping my investments. My legitimate businesses. Everything clean. The rest is yours. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me personally. No one took it up with him. The ghost had earned his retirement. By the end of February, Taeyoon had restructured his entire life. Legitimate business dealings. Consulting for organizations that needed his particular expertise. Investments that would keep him wealthy without keeping him criminal. And through it all, Nia. Building a life together. Making plans. I want to show you something, he said one evening in March. 3 months exactly since that Christmas Eve. He drove them to a property overlooking the Han River. Traditional Korean house with modern updates. Huge kitchen. Office space. Bedrooms for a family they hadn't discussed yet but both wanted. What is this? Nia asked, walking through the space. Ours. If you want it. I bought it last week. Thought maybe we could, if you're ready, make it official. She turned to face him. Official how? He pulled out a box. Small. Velvet. Expensive. I told you 3 months. I'm a man of my word. Taeyoon. Marry me, Nia. Make me human. Make me yours. Let me spend the rest of my life proving I'm worth the risk you took. She was crying. Laughing. Nodding. Yes. Obviously yes. You insane, romantic, reformed criminal. Yes. He slid the ring on her finger. Diamond and sapphire. Traditional and modern. Like them. I love you. More than power. More than fear. More than anything. I love you too. Even though you're absolutely crazy. Especially because I'm crazy. For you. They were married 6 weeks later. Small ceremony. His people. Her family flown in from Nigeria. Everyone watching in disbelief as the ghost pledged his life to a woman who tamed him with nothing but love and refusal to let him push her away. The reception was beautiful. Traditional Korean and Nigerian elements blended together. 2 cultures. 2 lives. 1 future. Did you ever think this would happen? She asked during their first dance. Never. I thought I'd die alone. Probably violently. Then you sent me lingerie for Christmas and broke every rule I'd ever made. Best Christmas gift ever? Only one that mattered. 6 months after the wedding, Nia missed her period. Then another. The test was positive. She stared at it in disbelief, joy, terror. When Taeyoon came home that evening, she was sitting on their bed, test in hand, tears streaming down her face. What's wrong? He was beside her instantly. Are you hurt? Did something happen? She handed him the test. Watched his face transform. Shock. Joy. Fear. Wonder. We're having a baby. You're pregnant? 3 months. I think. The doctor can confirm, but, yes. We're going to be parents. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe. I don't know how to be a father. My own was, he wasn't, I don't know if I can. You can. You will. Because you love me. And you'll love them. That's all that matters. What if I mess them up? What if I'm too broken? Then we'll be broken together. But Taeyoon, you're not broken. You're healing. And this baby, they'll get to see the man you've become. Not the ghost. Just their dad. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I'm terrified. Good. Me too. We'll figure it out together. The pregnancy was smooth. Nia glowed. Taeyoon hovered. His people joked that their former boss had become completely domesticated, attending birthing classes, reading parenting books, installing car seats with the same focus he'd once brought to hostile takeovers. By the time their daughter was born in early spring, Taeyoon had transformed completely. From ghost to father. From feared to loving. From isolated to utterly devoted. She's perfect, he whispered, holding their daughter for the first time, this tiny human who'd already stolen his entire heart. She is. Just like her dad. I'm not perfect. You are to us. They named her Jimin, Grace. Because that's what she represented. Grace neither of them deserved but both had received. And as Taeyoon watched his wife and daughter sleep, he understood finally what mattered. Not power. Not fear. Not control. Just this. Family. Love.